Hello, welcome.
Hello.
We're so happy to be here today.
Yay. Me too.
So, as members of the developer experience team, our job is to ensure that developers using ArcGIS are really provided with the best possible experience using our products and services. So today, we're here to discuss some of the updates and improvements that the team has made over the last year. We're going to share some demos, some tools, and other resources. So anyone that's here today, if we're interested in knowing, where you're joining from, so you could, let us know in the chat. That'd be great. We're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves now. So my name is Courtney. I'm a developer advocate, and my focus, along with Raul, is on developer outreach. One fun fact about me is I love to cross-stitch, and for the last many years, I have been working on cross-stitching the original 150 Pokemon. I'm only on number 16, so it's going to take a while. But yeah, all right, I will pass it on to Raul.
Hey, hello, everyone. As Courtney said, I work with her on doing developer outreach, and we are trying to build some resources that help you to be more productive and to have a better experience in general, as well as produce videos and help other folks at Esri to produce more blog articles and other resources that we think might be appealing for you. And my fun fact is that I love doing snowboarding, but I used to do it dressed as a chicken, which is really was really fun. When you fall down and you start like pio pio pio, people have a lot of
That's
fun with
pretty
you.
good.
I pass over to you, Monica. Oh,
Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is Monica. I'm a software engineer and I primarily work on Vectile Style Editor. And the fun fact about me is I love having desserts and I have a record of having 25 chocolates at one go. And I'll pass over to Anita.
Hi, I'm Anita. I'm the Developer Experience Documentation Team Lead. And let's see, a fun fact about me, I am an aerialist and I like to fence.
Nice. And
Now,
on to John.
Hey. Hey everybody, I'm John. I help manage the team and come up with overall strategy for our developer experience, and I'm always listening to users and our developer community and trying to figure out ways to make our developer experience better and make it the best we can make it. So if you got feedback, we always love to hear it, and we're always looking for it. Thanks for showing up today. Just a fun fact about me, I really love the outdoors and the environment, and I really care about the environment and making the world a better place for everybody. And I love trail running, so I'm always out on the trails anywhere I go, anytime I travel, or just around the house. I'm always out on the trail enjoying the world through a nice run in the mountains. So I hope to see you out there. If I see you on the trails, say hi. All right, I guess Back to Courtney.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So yeah, thank you again so much for joining. And we are going to start with Monica, who is going to show us some vector tile style editor improvements. So Monica, are you ready?
Yep. So recently, once we come into ArcGIS Online, so we are able to now access Vectile Style Editor from the apps which are here. So we see the Vectile Style Editor. So once we click in, we go to the style screen. Which we have all our recent work. So this is very similar to how we have my content on the ArcGIS Online, the content screen. So here we have the API keys and everything, but for the and to access the content, we every time had to come back to the content to see the tile layers. So now with this we don't have to go back and forth. So here we have all our base maps and all our styles here sorted, so we can filter this in different categories like how we have on content. So one is like owned by me, which is all the styles which are owned by me. The shared with me is like if someone has shared any data with me, so that will be seen here. And my favorites are like the favorited items, which I can see here. And we can do a folder search, we can do a tag search. So let's say if I wanted to see all the dark canvas, we can just go and see, filter it out based on that. And we can search based on input as well. So this will do a search based on the input. And let's say if I wanted to uh, open this, we can just click on open. And if we wanted to duplicate this item, we can do copy and open. And if we don't want this item, we can just do delete. And once we want to select and go into the editor, we go here, click on the editor, and then we see the new editor, the base, the world topographic test base map. And the other thing what we recently added is, we have changed some options here, like before we had in the toolbar. So we have return to recent styles, which goes back to the style screen. We can yeah, let me go. And view item is the item page in ArcGIS online. Yeah, so this is the item page. And so the create new style is nothing but creating a going back to the new style screen where we have all the SD base maps. Documentation goes to the documentation page. And community is where we can leave feedback. And if you have any questions, you can just go in here to ask us some questions. And the other thing is on, sorry, and even we have changed the UI on the new style screen. So here we have access to all the SD base maps, like popular, creative, base, all the categories. So from here, you can access the my styles, my favorites, and the shade with me. And then as well, we can also search based on the input. And let me go back to the world topographic map. And here, the other new feature that we added is the JSON editor. So this is like a really cool feature. So here we have all the JSON data for this base map, and we can just start editing. Like let's say if I wanted to change the base map color, the land not ice layer color, then I just do this, give the input, and then just update. And then the color changes. And let's say if I wanted to add some new property, like fill opacity per se. So it changes according to the opacity. And the other cool features are like, let's say I'm not I'm just this is not a formatted document. So let's say if I wanted to do a format on this, just do a right click and then do a format doc, and then it automatically formats the document. And then we can just update the screen. Yeah, I think that's all I got. And I will pass over to Anita.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Monica. So it's great to see all the new user interface improvements and the experience updates to the vector tile style editor. I think the JSON editor is a great feature that gives developers more control over the styles. So it's awesome. Thank you. All right, on to Anita. Anita is going to show us a lot of different stuff on the developer's website.
Yes, thanks, Courtney. We've done a lot of updates to the documentation between 2022 and even like now. So I'm going to focus on about 3 to 4 key updates that we did to the mapping APIs and location services guide, and also our guides that cover how to integrate ArcGIS location services with our open source mapping libraries, such as Esri Leaflet and ArcGIS RestJS, and also third-party APIs such as MapLibre GLJS, which used to be Mapbox, and OpenLayers. So let's start with the mapping APIs guide. Okay, this guide is centered around ArcGIS platform and ArcGIS online developers, and it really shows you how to build applications with our ArcGIS Maps SDKs, APIs, and those open source libraries. One of the newer additions we made to the guide was this key features page, which contains use case driven cards that you can easily find content that applies to your use case. Each card takes you to the most relevant page, code sample, or tutorial in the guide, and the cards also contain the APIs or tools that you can use to accomplish that task. We also recently added this page on optimized routing, and I feel that this page is really valuable because it highlights the difference between a simple route where you can just input your sequence of stops and it won't change, and an optimized route, which actually uses the traveling salesperson problem to reorder those stops and find the most efficient route based on time and also distance. I feel that this demo really highlights the difference, where the gray is the simple route and then the blue is the optimized route. On each page of the documentation, we also try to provide really valuable information on the capability or the operation. For instance, what is optimized routing, how optimized routing actually works, and we also provide the URL request, the required or key parameters. And then we also have this link here that if you actually want to try any of the requests that we have, you can always go to the Postman collection to do so. What I also like is our code examples, where you can go all the way down to this code dropdown switcher and select the ArcGIS Maps SDK or open source library that you want. All right, moving on, I think like the biggest addition to the guide that we made last year was the spatial analysis chapter, where we cover 3 types of analyses: geometry analyses, which is your client-side operations to project geometries and create buffers. We have 3D visual analyses, which is also client-side, and this is your 3D line of sight and view shed. And we have feature analysis. This is your server-side processes that accesses the spatial analysis service to perform operations like hotspots and aggregation. What's really unique about this chapter is that all of the tutorials combine interactive and programmatic steps. So if you're a developer, or if you're just someone who's maybe not as comfortable working with the direct code and wants to maybe visualize, for example, what is a boundary layer, you can always follow the steps here, where we show you how to perform an analysis using Map Viewer Classic. However, if you just want to get to the code, we also provide those steps using the ArcGIS API for Python and ArcGIS RestJS. However, if you also just want to talk directly to the service, we also provide all of the URL requests to get the analysis service URL that you would need for a spatial analysis, how to submit the job, check the job status, and get those results. So those are the real big updates that I want to talk about in the Mapping APIs guide. And now I want to pivot to talking about the open source guides. Okay, last year we migrated both the API reference for Esri Leaflet and RestJS from their old GitHub sites to the developer documentation for a more streamlined user experience. And then second, I feel like this is really important, and I alluded to it in the spatial analysis tutorial, is that RestJS now has an added job class, and you can find this documentation in their API reference. This job class allows you to not only perform feature analyses, but also other tasks such as location allocation and other geoprocessing tasks. Because of this added functionality, we were actually able to write in all 4 of the open source guides how to perform a feature analysis. In this case, it's MapLibre, GLJS, and ArcGIS, REST.js. What's unique about this tutorial is that we walk you through actually an entire OAuth 2 workflow, starting from how to import the ArcGIS Identity Manager and setting your client ID, all the way to actually making the request with that session token, which I think I just skipped. Yeah, right there. Another tutorial that I'd like to highlight in the open source guides is that we have one for getting local data. This refers to the data that you can find from the geo-enrichment service. So I really like these tutorials and I encourage you to check them out. Before I leave, I do want to highlight one kind of sneak peek for the Dev Summit that's coming up in March, and that is our new guide on how to work with ArcGIS location services and Cesium.js. So if you're a developer who really likes working with 3D, or if you're interested in it, then this guide is for you. We show you how to work with scene layers, I3S layers, and also how to work with REST.js to, in this case, find a route and directions. So those are all of my updates that I want to give, and I will hand it back to Courtney.
Thank you, Anita. Well, that's awesome to see so many new improvements and things to the developer site. I love all the open source guides, all the capabilities to use, ArcGIS location services within, different open source mapping APIs. It's pretty impressive. And then the Cesium, yes, that's exciting.
It is. It's always fun to see things in 3D.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Great. All right. Thank you, Anita.
Yep.
We are now going to switch it over to Raul, who is going to show us a few different resources for developers using ArcGIS technology. So, Raul. And Raul, you are on mute. So.
Sorry. Thank you for
Oh,
letting me know. Yes, I'm going to show you a little bit more about what Anita alluded, which is this Postman account that we have been creating since last year. We have been putting a lot of effort on working on two workspaces. The first one is the ArcGIS location services, and here you will find several collections that you can fork, make your own and modify with example requests that matches the examples you see on the developer guides. You have the geocoding, routing, demographics, data hosting. We are increasing this, spatial analysis and content management. Here you have, for each of the collections, you have one folder with different requests. You have the specification itself with all the parameters that it supports. So you can click in here and see which are the supported parameters for the generate token. And if you go to the right, you can see here, clicking on this icon, you can read some documentation, and also we are linking back to our main documentation in the developer side. But we think this is something that that can help you to get started with some of the location services if you haven't tried. And also, as you can see here, is quite easy just by forking the collections and forking the environment variables. You will be able to go to the examples and run any of these requests after you sign up, in case you don't have a Postman collection. That's a requirement. I forgot to say that. So here you can see the response coming back. We have been implemented several tests to make sure that everything works fine. And the second workspace we have built is about authentication, because we know many developers sometimes struggle with the authentication through OAuth, because it requires several steps and there are different types of OAuth to get to workflows to get the access token. We have implemented in here all these steps, and you can also see the responses that we have saved as an example for you to know what you can expect coming from each of these request, as well as some error codes in case you get an error code. So we hope you enjoy this. We are trying to improve these collections all the time. One thing for you to know is that right now this Postman collection, the account name is ArcGIS Developer. This will be renamed next week. So keep that in mind. We are still trying to figure out which is going to be the name. We have a couple of candidates, so go to the developer guides and access through them. Or I'm going to show you another resource that have a link to this Postman collection. So the second resource I wanted to show you is a repository we have under the Esri organization, which is called our Awesome ArcGIS Developer. In case you are not familiar with the concept of an awesome, I highly encourage you to click on this icon and read a little bit more about that. This is a community initiative, pretty cool community initiative to collaborate, compiling resources for developers. As you can see here, we are trying to compile different type of resources from, of course, documentation, but also repositories and websites with code sample and snippets, data conversion tools, data integration tools, debugging tools, resources about how to design and style maps and applications using maps the right way, with some resources that has been produced by our professional services and are available for all of you. We have links, resources about some helpers, some playgrounds, and so on. So if you go down below, let me go to the data conversion tools here. So you can expect things like this. So how to convert an ArcGIS JSON to a GeoJSON, how to convert CSV to GeoJSON, how to manipulate GPX files directly from the browser without requiring to open any desktop tool. Sometimes that's kind of handy to have these kind of links out there. So we hope that you enjoy the resources and you find resources that you didn't know before. And we also expect your contributions. So feel free to open any pull request or any issue if you normally use one tool that you think should be listed in here. And the last resource I wanted to share you or tell you about is mediaspace.esri.com. I think this was released around April last year. Probably we haven't announced it enough. So this is the website that it's kind of replacing the previously known as E360 Video. So this is a new platform where we are hosting and better organizing our videos. We are still using YouTube, but we are combining YouTube with this video experience, and here we are providing better navigation. There are some videos that will be only in here, but yeah, don't worry too much about that. We will keep you informed on what goes where. So if you go under products, you have here an ArcGIS developers. This will be also renamed to developers soon. And here we have a channel for almost every developer product. There are some channels that, like in this case, that groups different native SDKs. But depending on the content we have available, we have been trying to group things the best way we could. In the near future, we are working for you to be able to subscribe to these channels and receive notification whenever we upload a new video. And what I think is pretty cool from this new channel is how we are doing our best to organize the content by playlist. So here you can see, like, for example, how to get started. We are trying to compile all the API fundamentals on the JavaScript. Each channel have a different category or different playlists based on, again, the content that each team has been producing. And before finishing, if you go to events, you should know that from now on, under conferences, if you go to Esri Developer Summit, here is where you will find all the videos from previous Dev Summits, but also from future Dev Summits. And I think that's mainly it.
Awesome. Thank you, Raul. It's nice to see that there are so many resources available to developers using our ArcGIS services, SDKs, and APIs. I really like the Postman collection. It's nicely formatted. It makes it really easy to test out the ArcGIS location services. And that awesome GitHub repo, I mean, well, it's awesome. And it's like a one-stop shop, I guess, right?
And we are trying to add at least one new tool every week. So just for you to keep in mind, every start you give to that repo will help us to keep promoting it and updating it. So do not be shy and
yeah, for
support us.
sure. Yeah. And finally, that Mediaspace, it's a great space to get video content, which is always a excellent way to learn. So, all right, cool. Well, thank you again, Raul. We are going to go to John now, who is going to talk about Esri Community and the upcoming Developer Summit. So, all right.
Yeah,
John.
cool. Thanks, Courtney, and thanks everybody. So yeah, just to kind of follow up on all the great things that you just saw, one of the first things I just wanted to let everybody know is that we've got an Esri Community, a dedicated forum to our developer technology. So when you go to Esri Community, we have a lot of communities around Esri products, but there's a specific community for developers that you can go to and see all of our developer channels. So along the lines of everything Anita just showed you earlier, we've got a separate forum space for each API. So if you're interested in the REST.js that we just talked about, you can go into REST.js. There's potentially blog articles there, but you can ask your own questions. You can see questions other users are asking, get solutions, and follow up with us. And all of us on the call today, we monitor these channels. So if you do put questions in there, a lot of us will see them. So we encourage you to interact with us and give us feedback through these channels. It's very helpful. And then if you don't know what your API is, we have a general channel. So you can just ask general developer questions here. And this is kind of where most things kind of end up anyway. So check that channel out and follow up with us there. So that'd be really cool. And then, of course, we talked about the Developer Summit. So every year, Esri hosts a Developer Summit where we bring Esri developers together in Palm Springs in Southern California. And in March, it's a great place to go because it's warm and sunny and you're hanging out in the desert and it's a really cool place. So I encourage you to try to get there. If you can't make it, we do have a digital registration. So you could sign up and you can attend the plenaries and most of the sessions virtually if you wanted to do that. But of course, we encourage you to go there because all of us are going to be there and you'll meet us in person, which would be great. So come out and join us here and check out the agenda. So we've got the plenary sessions. This is where Esri is going to talk about all the upcoming technology. For example, we might show you like the Cesium, which is brand new that Anita showed you earlier, and a lot of other new technology and things that we're releasing for the first time. So you'll get the early word on the street before anyone else knows about it at these plenary sessions, and you'll catch our strategy as well. The other thing is that we'll have the showcase open for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That's where we're going to be in person. You can come by the booth, ask us questions, or just say hi, or share us the apps that you're working on and show us your code and ask us questions about best practices and better ways to do things. We'll be there and we're more than happy to help. And then we've got these speed geeking sessions where various people in the community, not just Esri people, but some of our users and other developers will show the things that they're working on. These are 4 or 5 minute little demos, and you just walk around the room and, you might see, 20 different demos in the course of the hour and a half that we have that open. And then after that, there's Meet the Teams. This is where all of us will be hanging out. We're going to be serving free beer and free snacks. And it's a great opportunity to come out and chat with us and say hi and see what's going on and find out what's coming up next. So those are all the things I really wanted to show you for today. Meet us on all these forums and the repos that Raul showed you. And, we hope to see you out there. All right. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Yeah, so it's great to see all the different ways that we help and support ArcGIS developers. I mean, we're constantly trying to do improvements and updates to the developer site, but then also just so many other resources like we've shown you today. So we do plan to make this developer experience live stream a quarterly event. So look out for us again in a few months. And again, thank you so much for attending. If you have any questions or feedback, you can leave them in the comments below. And I guess we hope to see you soon.
Right.
Thank you very
Cool.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.